on. I'm curious, what are some of the things that are working over there? You shared some of the stories, maybe go into a little bit more detail, and maybe some of the stuff you're really looking at that, I think it's good to give a global perspective, and what are the different conversations happening
Yeah.
at different parts of the world.
Yeah, like I said, we mostly do Croatia, although we do have had some clients from US, UK, and so on. We do this because it's way easier to compete here than to compete in the US and UK, where there's like 50 million SEOs who are probably better than you. Um, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying that the input versus output is way lower out there. So whatever works everywhere else is what works in Europe as well, and especially smaller countries like Croatia. And it basically works like 20-fold. I wouldn't even be surprised if some companies from the US and so on got a whiff of this and saw that you can basically make way more money in smaller countries just because, like, doing a digital PR campaign, let's say in Austria or in Slovenia and so on, is way easier, way faster, way more scalable. The results are way better. Like, we had clients in the insurance business who've gone from like 15 plus positions to the first position, and they've been the first position for the past year or so. We stopped working together just because they were so happy with the results. We didn't have anything else to offer them because they're first for everything. They have basically all of the traffic.
Okay, so I'll bring that up. That's something that I have always had on the back of my head, is when you do really, really good for a client and absolutely crush it, your reward is you get fired and you got to go find another client. Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Now, one of the things you said is absolutely true. I had 2 clients in Costa Rica for a long time, and I felt like I was one of the 3 people creating content in Costa Rica, because the content was so thin, and really, like, the callbacks, as far as like the number of pages created, there was just not a lot of content, so it served up your stuff faster. And so when it's less competition, I absolutely see that. My question for you, which I understand what you're saying, but also you got a currency differential. Now I know, like, Australia, for example, is, almost on par with the US as far as like expense level goes, but I can also see maybe certainly UK and maybe US are maybe more mature markets than other areas. I think, well, with COVID, well, everybody's kind of moved it forward online. But no, I see what you're saying. I think that there's other things to consider when you're working in different countries. Like, I'm working in Canada and Mexico mostly because we're like North America and US. We have done stuff in other countries, but yeah, no, if you're working in an area that's not as competitive, or not as mature, let's say, and not as many people are into the digital transformation yet, that's what I'm seeing. Like, certain industries, certain geographical areas, if they're not into the digital transformation as much as like maybe other companies, let's say industry wise, like SaaS is on top of it, right? Like, and so SaaS is a lot more competitive than, home services or something like that, right? Because they're not leaning into the digital transformation, or they haven't, as maybe a small business would. Like, a plumber might not, be working the same way.